Hey guys, Rob Satch from Feedback Crunch. I'm going to show you how to set up conversions, Google Tag Manager. It's 2022 and we're looking at a WordPress site. This is an Avada WordPress site. I'm going to show you how to do conversion tracking really well so that you can do a Google Ads account really well. And I tell you what right now, if you don't do it this way, your ads aren't going to work very well. So this is going to be how to set up Google Ads, the conversions for the ads, how to use all on a website that's an actual WordPress site that's Avada. So I'm just going to dive right in here. I'm going to show you a couple different things. So right off the bat, I have a new customer here. I want to share this. Hopefully this helps you if you're a digital marketer or whatever it is. I want this to help you. So we'll dive right in. So my first thing that I'm double checking here is this site had been set up by somebody. And right now, our core conversion action is if I hit get a quote, when the get a quote comes up here, there's a form. And the guy who built this website, it's a gravity form. Now, gravity forms in WordPress present a couple little differentiators. We want to track when this form closes and when I actually submit this form, I want that to be a conversion. The other thing is if I hit the phone numbers, I want that to be a conversion, okay? Now, there's a couple different ways that you can do this, right? One of the things that they had done already is I know Gravity Forms doesn't have the ability to track like the form ID. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll track form IDs inside of this, and that's not what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to track via a thank you page. Okay, so long story short, the first thing that we did right off the bat is you're going to come in here, you're going to go to dashboard, you're going to go to pages, and you want to make a page that's called a thank you page. And basically what that's going to do is when you fill out the form is going to redirect to the thank you page, and that's going to ring the bell that that's the actual conversion. Most of you already know that, right? But what I want to do is I just want to focus here with you guys. Once you get that page, it's just you create a new page /thank you, and you could put whatever you want in there. Anytime that URL is loaded, that's going to trigger our thank you. So now what I want to do is I'm going to show you exactly how to set up a Google Tag Manager account and set it up in this WordPress. This is going to be a full-fledged walkthrough. So we already know when I click these phone numbers, if I click the phone number up there, or if I actually fill out the form, that's what we want. So right off the bat, what I'm going to do is, and I just kind of finished this, but I'll show you how to do this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to Google Tag Manager. And I like using Google Tag Manager instead of using like a whole bunch of different embed codes inside of this. Now this WordPress theme is the Avada theme. Not my favorite thing. We build our WordPress, or we build in a different platform, but you're going to go to Google Tag Manager. Once you get to Google Tag Manager, you're going to, create an account. Okay. So you're going to hit create account. And once you create the account, you're going to fill out the information. And I'm just going to go right down to where I already did this Las Vegas junk. So once you hit next, new, all of that, it's going to create a container. The container then is going to give you a couple things. So up here, and if you just create it, what it's going to do is it's going to have this install Google Tag Manager, and it's going to give you this head and this body code. So I'm going to show you how to install this in a couple different platforms. On the Avada theme, what you'll do is you'll go to dashboards, and then you'll go to the theme thing on the far left. And so under Avada, and I think it's the Avada dashboard. By golly, where did it go? And then I think you get into options, and we get to the profile thing here. So it's going to load in just a second. Sorry, it takes a while. And I like Google Tag Manager because it only puts the information in there once. So this is the setting on Avada. And what you're going to do is you're going to come down here and you're going to say advanced code fields. And then you're going to take the head code here and put that before the head. And then the body code, this second part, you're going to put in this second part. And then you're going to hit save. Okay. Now, once you've hit saved, it's going to start going. Now, the first thing we got to do is what Google Tag Manager is going to do is there's basically the container, which means it's in there. And then we can deploy Google Analytics. We can deploy Google Ads conversions. We can have triggers and tags. And that's what I'm going to walk you through real quick. So this is the fundamentals. We're going to move fast here, guys. Rewatch this if you like. Please like and subscribe and comment so that my videos pay the bills. Anyways, so what's going to happen here is you put that in, you hit save, and now a couple of things we want to have happen. The first thing I always do when I get a new Google Tag Manager account, I'm going to come in here and I want to create a new Google Analytics. Right now it's September 23rd of 2022. Google Analytics UA, the old school analytics, is going away. You're going to want the new one. So the way you do this is you're going to go down here to admin. Once you get admin pulled up, so when I'm creating a new one for a client, I would hit create account, and then I actually create account, and then there's a property. Well, as you're creating this property, eventually you're just going to keep hitting new, and it's going to go to this data stream. And eventually you'll get into this weird page here where it says add a stream. And so the first thing I like to do is I have Google Tag Manager. I put it on the website. I hit save, I hit update, and it should be in there. Now, now that that's there, what we're going to do is we're going to set up a Google Analytics so we can actually set this thing up. So I would add stream, and we're doing a web stream. So you're going to select web. Now I already kind of did this, then I backed up and I'm like, okay, let's get this going. But once you do this, you're going to keep hitting next, and then eventually you get to this point where you get this measurement ID. Now you're going to grab this measurement ID, come into Google Tag Manager, and we're going to install this on all pages. So when you're in Google Tag Manager, the things you're going to see is you have triggers, which is like, hey, if I click this button, that's a trigger. If I click the button, that's a trigger. If I were to fill out a form, that's a trigger. We're going to create some triggers, and then we're going to place those triggers inside of tags. So I've already kind of jumped forward just a little bit here, but the first thing we want to do is we want to talk about the parts going into the trigger, okay? I always come in here and I go into variables. We have to turn on a couple of things. So you go to variables, we're going to go to configure, and we're giving ourselves more ingredients for the recipe here. We're going to do some if-then statements essentially. Now, the ones I usually turn on is I really like to do click URL. I do a lot of that. And the reason why is this would be if I'm going to, let's just say, click a phone number. So I always make sure that every phone number across the entire website is an identical URL. I do the TEL:+1, the phone number without any digits in between, so that if I have continuity there, every single time somebody hits that button, so like right there, that's the same. Every time that gets hit, that can be a trigger, okay? And the way that's going to be is we would do that with a click URL. So I always turn click URL on, and then I personally do form IDs, and I turn on the form stuff. So I just turn on all the form things and I do for sure the click URL. You don't have to turn them all on. I don't even know why I do it all. But next, what we're going to do is we're going to jump over here to triggers, okay? And we're going to just take a look at this. We'll come to this in a second, but now we're going to go to tags. So again, we have this Google Analytics data stream. What we're going to do is we're going to tell it on all pages, we're going to go to new. Let's call this G4 Analytics. So this is going to be a tag. So again, a tag. We're going to call it G4 Analytics. You can call it configure or whatever you want. And now there's two parts to this. You have the trigger, which we're going to select all pages. So we're saying the trigger is any page gets loaded, that's going to be the trigger. And then, so if any page load, then we're going to go to tag configuration. Now, this has changed a little bit. Over here, because we're dealing in the new G4 Analytics and not the old UA or Google Universal Analytics, we're going to come in and we're going to go G4 configuration, not event. We're going to do events in a minute, but first it's the configuration, which is basically install this data stream. So you're going to click that. Now, what happens here is it says measurement ID. And if you remember when we came over here, we have measurement ID from the stream. Okay, this should pop up as you follow the directions installing and creating a new Google UA. Otherwise, the way you would get here, if you're looking at something like this, you would go down to the gear. Once you're into the gear, you're going to come over here and you're going to go to data streams. And then you're going to either hit add stream and create this new one or go to the one that you already have. We're going to grab the measurement ID. Okay, so we got measurement ID. We're going to pop that in there. So now essentially what we said is fire this tag when any page is loaded. And what that's going to do is it's going to fire the Google Analytics G4. Now I'm going to hit save, but I'm not going to do that because I've already done this. So I'm going to discard my changes, but you're going to hit save for that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to come over here, and anytime you make changes in Google Tag Manager, you need to submit them. I'm going to hit submit up here. I'm just going to name it. So G4 update. And if you want to be really formal, you can do this, but hit publish. And now what has just happened is we have your website has the code. The code loads the tag of Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is loading analytics code. That analytics code is the data stream. So we've got all that lined up. And the result should be, once you hit publish there, you hit workspace. If you were to come over here to this Google G4 Analytics and hit refresh, what we should see, go up to the home. And what you'll want to do is maybe grab your phone. Sorry, you're going to come in here to Google Analytics. You're going to go to the home up here. And maybe what you should do is go over here, load the page on your phone, load it on another browser, get it to trigger, right? And what you should start seeing here is in the real time, you should start seeing some action as you click around. It can take 5 to 10 minutes to actually go. But now I do know that that's up here. The other thing that you can do is if I refresh this container, there is a Google Chrome extension that you can install called the Google Tag Legacy. And essentially, once you get this turned on, so you go to Bookmarks, Manage Extensions, there's a Google Tag Assistant is what it's called, okay? You'd hit Enable. Once that's enabled, you refresh the page. And what that'll do is it'll kind of show you what do we have going on in here. So, okay, so I see I have 2 Google Tag Managers because the old guy has one in here, but they didn't really do it right. So we have a Google Tag Manager, we have a Site Tag. I can see that it's in there, okay? So that's good, right? I'm going to click off of that, but that's one way that you can test. So now what I want to do is I want to find out, okay, what were my actions that I want to track? Well, real quick, let's just say if I click this, TEL:1, so if I were to copy that address, so copy link, and this is, I always have my phone numbers, make them a link, and that link will be this. We'll put it right here. That's the link here in this case, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to make that a trigger now. So a trigger where if I click that URL, or if it contains that URL, that's going to do a trigger. So I'm going to go down to here to triggers. I'm going to hit new trigger. I'm going to call it, I always call them click to call, and I'm going to go trigger configuration. Now, again, if yours isn't in here, you needed to have put just, so I'm going to, this is a click event. So if I click a link or just links, that's what we're going to do. So again, if you click that URL, if I click this URL, I want there to be a trigger. Okay. And so I'm going to go click URL. Now you got to be careful here. So this is in here. You leave this alone for now, but it says fire this on all clicks. No, that would be bad. We want to say some clicks. Well, which clicks? Now we don't want to use click ID. We want to use click URL in this instance. And then what I do is I say contains that URL, because every once in a while you'll see like a UTM code or something get put on that. So because we might do that, we're going to say contains that. Well, by golly, that's pretty good. Now you'll want to also, little pro tip here, make sure you've formatted all your phone numbers the same. Okay. All right. So I'm going to hit save. I've already done that. So I'm going to discard that, and then I'm going to hit submit. So now up to this point, what I have is I have a trigger that's this. Now, again, I started off by saying we made a thank you page. And if I go to dashboards here, and if I were to go to pages, in this case, all pages, the guy already made this. So I'm just going to search for thank you. And then that thank you page was also deployed in the Gravity form. So any form that you have, really, you can come in, and if you take a look at what this page is, we're going to go view. So this, probably shouldn't have done that. I just triggered it. And this is why I don't like thank you pages. Look at, he's got his little thing in there. Anytime this gets loaded, that's going to fire a trigger. In fact, I would be willing to bet, I think I'm already watching this. So page load, oh, it's not there. Okay, jumping ahead of time. So again, this thank you page. So look at this URL. We've got /thank you. And you put a little message in there. Hey, thanks, appreciate it. This is one way to do it. I personally, on all of our sites, we trigger form submissions in a different manner because I just find that this breaks sometimes. It's not quite as clean. Plus, if you ever load it, it's like, ah, dang it, I triggered it. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a trigger. I'm going to say, so first of all, we already have this click to call. So if I click that URL that contains TEL, it's going to fire. Now I'm going to create this on thank you form. I'm going to go new, and I'm going to say thank you trigger. And I'm going to do trigger configuration. Well, what's it going to be? This is if a page view occurs. So if a page view occurs, and if a page view occurs on some pages, and some pages, I'm going to go to click or page URL contains this. Again, do contains, because what you're going to find is sometimes a UTM code gets on there or some other things. I can't remember if it messes it up. All right, now I'm going to hit save. I'm not going to because I already did that. So if we were to just real quick recap, we've got 2 triggers, a click to call trigger and a thank you form trigger. So when those things happen, these triggers are going. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in and I'm going to do the basics of let's fire a little event into Google Analytics that we can then turn into an actual conversion. Okay. So the first thing, again, we're going to get into Google Ads here, but the first thing I do is I'm going to come over to tags. So I'm going to use these triggers and put them into a tag. Now I want to do, the first one is I'm going to do this click to call. So I'm going to say new tag, and a tag takes a trigger and then does something with it. So I'm going to call this G4 click to call tag. And the trigger, let's just start there. The trigger, it's going to be the click to call. So if this happens, then that should occur is what we're doing here. Now the tag configuration, what I want to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to the G4 event. Okay. G4 event. Let's grab that piece of the recipe. Now, the first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to go in and you'll have to say new tag. You'll create a new tag, and in that new tag is where that, if you don't see it here, so this is the one I already made. You might have to make a new one if it's not there. Sorry. So that data stream is the tag that you're putting there. So basically I named it G4 Analytics. Now I'm going to say, let's create an event. I'm going to call this junk click call. Don't put any spaces in there. And there's a reason why. Down the road, you can't use these in audiences. If you put spaces there, it's kind of in G4 Analytics, there's a little inhibitor. So best practice, either use underscores if you want to be fancy with it. I just do junk click call. I also try and put a differentiator in there so that I know what's going on. So now what we've said is we're saying, hey, if you click the call, if this happens, then fire a G4 Analytics event to this tag, make it an event, and the event's going to be named that. Let's hit save. I'm not going to do that because I already did it. You'd hit save, and I'm going to discard the change. Now, every time we're doing that, you have to submit the full changes here to make a new version and publish it. You have to keep publishing for this to happen. So again, you'll have an audit to see what's all going on. If I go back to the workspace, again, I'm going through admin, versions, and workspace. Bear with me here. Hopefully this is helpful. If you're a web designer and you want somebody that can help you with this, give us a call. We can help you. We do Google Ads. We're going to get to a place where we actually drive good traffic. But I would not run Google Ads unless I did this, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to do a tag again, new tag, and I'm going to say, thank you page. And so now we're going to find the trigger. Okay. So let's go get our thank you page. So whenever the thank you form page trigger, then let's do the tag will be again a G4 event. And then I'm going to select the same G4 Analytics. And now I'm going to call it like junk thank you. And I'm going to hit save, but I'm not going to do that because I've already done that. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to go test that. So let's hit submit, post the whole thing, submit it. Okay. Now what's going to happen, I'm going to show you how to validate that you're actually getting this all going and it's working. Okay. Holy Hannah. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to overview. All right. So I've got a clean window here. We're going to do what's called a preview. Okay. And we're basically going to go see, hey, is that actually working? So I'm going to close a couple of these windows. I have too many of these. You don't want to have 900 windows open. Like make sure you have just a few. I'm assuming you know how to do redirects in your forms too. That's probably worth saying. Whenever you make a form, there's an option to do the redirect to that thank you page. I'm assuming you know how to do that. If you don't, we'll have some other video about that. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to test to see if these tags will occur in the wild, right? We want to make sure that's, oh, you know what? Yeah, so I've got the G4 Analytics I didn't do. Oh, real quick, let's do that. G4 form. I thought I was done. I got doing this. I'm like, I should make a video. So I'm going to do the G4. So G4 thank you form or page, right? And I'm going to say, so the trigger is the thank you form. So when this happens, then let's load the G4 Analytics, this code, and I'm going to say junk thank you. And I'm going to hit save. I'm going to publish this. Sorry, I should name this all formal, but I'm kind of moving quick here. And what I find is nobody else touches these and needs to go back because this isn't complex. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to preview. So I'm going to hit preview, and a couple of windows are going to happen. I'm going to put in the URL of my website right here. So go grab it, put it in here, hit connect. And essentially what's going to happen, it's going to open another window. And in this other window, we're going to go back and forth between these two tabs, okay? So the website has loaded here. And over here, I've got what's going on. So here's what's just a hurt. This is basically the audit trail of what happens over here. So if I were to say our services, I just click that. This first page was loaded. So this is the page that loaded when I first started. And what I saw here was there's a tag that fired, the analytics tag. That's great. Tags not fired, my thank you and my thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm a moron. I need to go double check that. Now I click that new page. The new page got loaded. All right, that's fine. But now I want to do, let's find out if I click this. So it tried to call. Let's go see what happened when I clicked that. When I clicked it, outbound click. Well, that's not there. You know why? Because Rob's a dum-dum. Now I can do this while this is here. I'm going to go back to this tag. I did 2 thank yous. Oh, guys, it's Friday. It's Friday. I ain't got no job and I got lots to do. I got kids and I got a business. I'm going to get rid of one of those. I'm going to go new. I forgot to do the click to call. I act like I already did it. I did not. So, but this is part of it, guys. You got to iron this out. So I'm going to go again, G4 event, and I'm going to call it junk click to call. I always put the name in there, no spaces, if you remember. So click to call, boom. Let's publish this. And so the idea here is you really have to iron this out. That's part of why I do the analytics right away. This video is about Google Tag Manager and Google Ads, but I want to use analytics to kind of trial my way through it. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go to the page that we're on. I'm going to refresh it here. And I believe, so I had to go add that new trigger in and publish it. And now what I should get here, and I can't remember if I have to reload. I think I have to reload both. So I'm going to reload both pages here. All right. So because I updated, I have to do a new preview. We're going to hit continue. All right. So the page is loaded. The page is loaded. I'm going to hit get a quote just to see. So did the page load? The page loaded. Now notice how slow that is because it's WordPress. Up here, I'm going to hit that button or hit that link. So when I hit that link, what happened here is we have an outbound and an outbound. Link click, link click. There it is. So on this first link click, it's funny. They got it some sort. On that link click, boom, the tag fired. That's good. If I were to come over to the analytics, I would imagine, now this new one's a little bit, I'm going to go to view real time. So again, I was up here on home. I'm in real time. So I'm looking in the last 30 minutes. I'm going to hit real time right here. And as I come down here, I should be able to see events, right? And there, boom, I can see junk click to call. That happened. And the junk thank you. These events are firing in there. We're going to do something with those in just a minute for analytics. And then we're going to do something with Google Ads as well. So, all right, that worked. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to annoy my customer and I'm going to do a trial in the form. Okay, so I'm going to just get in here. Real quick, guys, I'm going to push this off because I'm going to put a little bit of, it always auto. All right. So it's fun, isn't it? You like my backlight? All right. So we got a thank you page. Let's go over here. Let's see what happened. So we had get a quote, set. And when this thank you page, so that was the trigger that we wanted, right? And boom, the G4 thank you page fired. If I come over here, the thank you page probably fired again. Vegas, thank you. Junk, thank you. Vegas, thank you. So there we go. We've got those. Now what I want to do real quick. So I do this because the next thing I'm going to do is going to be in Google Ads. It's going to be a little more serious. Okay, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to configure, because inside of this, eventually, you're going to want to come down to conversions, and you're going to say new conversion event, and you want to name, well, no. Sorry, you're going to go to events. And over time, it takes about 24 hours for this to pop up. You'll see your event here, and I would mark your event as a conversion. Okay, I don't mark a whole bunch of things as conversions. Form fills, click to calls, maybe an email. You don't want Google Analytics and Google Ads thinking that like scrolling 80% of the way down the page is a conversion. It's not good. So, all right, so that was really helpful. That's how we do Google Analytics onto Google or a WordPress site using Gravity Forms or Avada. We installed the Google Tag Manager. We set up Google Analytics. And now for this second video, which will be in the description here, we're going to dive into how to set up the conversions in Google Ads. Good luck. God bless. Like and subscribe if this is helpful. We're going to do more and more tutorials of this.